Hi everyone, my name is Karishma Mehta, the first human at Humans of Bombay. Welcome to our first talk show, How the Hell Did I Do It? On this show, we speak with the dreamers, the pioneers, the go-getters, and the never-say-noers from all walks of life. We discuss their journeys, the highs, the lows, and even the blows. And through our conversation, we get pretty close to figuring out how the hell did they do it. In this episode, I catch up with the woman in business, Divya Gokulnath. From starting a career at the mere age of 21 by wearing saris to appear older for students, to today being one of the few self-made billionaire women in the world, Divya Gokulnath, co-founder of BYJU'S, is a force to reckon with. For those of you who don't know, Divya's love for teaching made her give up her very planned life, including a master's seat, to her dream university. Divya, a working mom, opened up to us about how the juggle is real, how her mother, a cricket fanatic, reacted to seeing her daughter's company being the title sponsor for both Indian cricket teams, and how a seemingly strict Ravindran Baiju is actually a die-hard romantic. Our conversation was a match made in heaven. Two women in business connecting on so many different levels and understanding and appreciating each other's journeys. But more so for me, because I finally got the answer I've been longing to ask Divya. How the hell did you do it? Welcome everybody. I am so excited and delighted to be here with Divya. You guys have already heard about her in the introduction, but I'm personally so excited to have this conversation with you. So welcome and thank you for doing this.
Pleasure is equally mine.
And I'm going to go into what makes Divya Divya, the journey that makes you, and I'm personally so interested in knowing those things that have brought you to this point. I'm going to start from the beginning. What was your childhood like, Divya? Tell me.
Childhood was was fun, right? And growing up, I've been exposed to multiple things. So when I was in school and when I would come back, my grandparents and my parents instilled in me the importance of sports. So I never had like free time. And of course, all of this is something that adds value today, and you come to understand that as you grow up. Running, swimming, basketball, gymnastics from the age of 4. So I've been as deeply passionate about sports as I have been about learning. And so that's how it was. Trips to the British Library. So used to read a lot. And art competitions, art exhibitions. So you can imagine a very tight, packed, busy childhood, but filled with so much fun. And considering that I never had a sibling, I think I used to trouble my parents a lot for company, but I don't think I actually missed, because they've been so great, especially my mother. Right? My father's a doctor, and if you're a doctor, you can just be that and nothing else. My mom, also working, Doordarshan, made time for me, was such a strong model as I grew up. Of course, we don't realize that, until today, that these are the people who've been instrumental in shaping us up. So yes, that's how it was. Coming from a defense background, my father's been a doctor in the Air Force, had a lot of friends. We stayed in a defense colony but the friends keep changing because you get posted out, and so exposed to variety of culture within the country. Picked up 6 languages. Wow. So I speak 6 languages, I think, because of this exposure. I've been brought up in a way that it doesn't matter whether I'm a boy or a girl, and I think that's what a lot of people ask me. What are the challenges you faced? How was it growing up? I say, look at me as an example of what would happen if you give equal opportunity to someone. If you do not bring them up with the myopic lens of gender.
And I find it so fascinating. It came up in our research that your grandmother loved sports.
Yeah.
And it's now that the taboo around girls in sports is moving. And back then, if she was into sports, it's so ahead of her time.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about her?
Yeah.
What was her fascination with sports?
Yeah.
All of that.
She was lucky to go to school, and the reason she got to go to school was because her brother was going. So, till he went, she was allowed to tag along with him. And although her exposure to sports is with interest, she brought that out in her daughter, who's my mom. And my mother was the captain of her cricket team.
Wow.
She played tennis. So, and it's also my grandfather. So, my mom's dad also exposed her. Although my mother was the only daughter and she has 3 brothers, she was actually doing really well as she grew up, and the boys would often be asked to look up to her. And the same with my batch, you know. So, although I'm the only child, my mom's brothers all have boys as kids, and then it was often than not that they would be pulled up and said, you know, look at her, she studies so well, look at her, she plays sports so well. So you know, when you grow up like this with a family that is so encouraging of you for the person that you are and not the gender that you are, you automatically grow up with that confidence that you can do so much. So that's played a huge role.
I'm going to go very far ahead, but I have to because you've mentioned cricket. Your mother played cricket. How does she feel that her daughter's company is sponsoring the Indian cricket team? And I mean, that's just goosebumps on a lot of levels, right? So, how did she feel? What was her reaction?
Very proud.
Yeah.
Like I think every Indian would be, because to see an Indian company on the jersey of the team that we all love the most, a sport that resonates with all of us. Actually, every sport does at some level, right? We feel for it. Cricket has somehow had that, you know, that widespread love from so many people. They see themselves in it. Maybe it inspires a billion budding dreams, is how people put that across. So, a feeling of immense pride, not just her, entire family. My father used to play cricket. All my mother's brothers used to play cricket. So there was this whole intense feeling of pride, and of course for BYJU'S family as well, because he has literally grown up spending a lot of time outside classrooms. People know him in school as you know, as a cricket player. And before we got married, my mom and her family, you know, they asked in his village, so you know about BYJU and all of that. They were surprised when all his teachers said that, yeah, BYJU the cricketer, you know, and this is speaking about more than 10, 11 years back when there is no BYJU'S. There is a BYJU Ravindran, and everybody remembers him as a sports person.
Wow. And I love the fact that it was not just the male cricket team, but was also the women cricket team. And I feel like that was such a strong statement in terms of everything that you've just said, right? That equal opportunity and equal respect for what you are and who you are and not your gender. So was that a calculated decision on the company's front or your front, you know, that it doesn't have to just be the male Indian cricket team, but also the women?
When we went for it, we went for both, because we never thought about whether it should be separate or whether it should be one or the other. So for us, it was cricket. It was a sport. Now, the sport has, I mean, it doesn't have a form of gender. It just has passion in the game.
How were you as a student? Were you a backbencher? Were you a topper? What was your schooling life like?
My student life was mixed with everything, frankly. So there are times when I've been a backbencher in my 11th and 12th grade. There are times when I've been a topper in my university. There are times when I've been the teacher's pet in school. So I think I've, you know, surprisingly, and the best part is you could be anything, right?
And it doesn't really matter, you know, which aspect of life you're focusing on back then. You know, we're so young and there's so many opportunities ahead that it shouldn't really define who you will be in 10 years or 15
and we do
years.
have enough examples of people who have been backbenchers and done so great, have been toppers and done so well. So,
like Sir Richard Branson is dyslexic.
Exactly.
And I don't think and that's the biggest example, right? That it could be anything and it doesn't define your path.
Yes, you define your path.
Yeah. And if I were to ask your students or your friends in school, what will Divya Gokulnath be in life, right? Like, what will she be doing? What do you think
they would have said? She'll be a scientist.
A scientist?
That's what I think they would have said.
Okay. Amazing. And how was it like, you know, topping your university and kind of having that benchmark, right? That I've topped university in my head and for everybody to see. How did that play out when you went from having this set path in front of you that I've topped my university and then I'm going to go abroad. I'm going to kind of get that degree and come back and probably get a high salary job. How did it pan out for you when it didn't go linear? It wasn't linear.
It's a good question. And I'm yet to find the correct answer. But if I really go back and think about it, it was all mapped out, right? So it's all like parents' investment completely mapped out for my education. So I'm the only child, right? And father's, the number of degrees are longer than his name. So it's but their expectation that I go ahead and pursue something beyond my engineering degree. And of course, I'm a good student, so why not? And all of that. And it was the trajectory at that point of time, you're talking about 12, 13 years back, where biotech was still in the nascent stages in India. So you go abroad, you do your masters, you specialize and do something, come back, make a difference in the country. This is what I wanted to do. Now, in the break between my undergraduation and my, the time where I had to go abroad is where I started teaching. And I was BYJU'S student, and I went because I wanted to do better at math. I was already good at the other two sections in GRE, and I was planning to do take this exam and then go abroad. I learned it in such a different way, and that first class I will never forget because it opened my eyes that math can actually be this simple.
And your first class was being taught by BYJU'S?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. He was the only one teaching the classes. So he ran it, right? It's called BYJU'S classes.
Yeah.
And he would personally take the class. So when I called also, he would only pick up the phone. So I didn't know it was him, of course. So I called because my friend said, there's this crazy guy who teaches maths so well. And I was like, okay, fantastic. I took the number, I called him, and he was like, I didn't know it was him. Later I got to know. And he was like, the batch is closed. There's absolutely no space. So I thought, okay, fine, this is another marketing gimmick. I was like, no, and I started selling myself. I'm like, look, I'm a topper, I've done really well. I will definitely do so well and all of that. And I think I never gave up. Because of which he must have thought, okay, it's just better to get her in.
So is that also something that is a part of your skill set, that you have this attitude of perseverance, in the face of even, somebody saying it's full, the batch is full, a lot of people would be like, okay, I'll try another time or I'll try next year. But you chose to sell yourself.
Yeah, when I really want something and I think that's something that's going to make a difference, I won't give up.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think that's what he liked also, because he's also very similar in that sense. Yeah. And so I am someone who perseveres, and I think that's a very underrated quality. The fact is that, there is, genius and hard work. There is so much emphasis on genius, but the fact is hard work can actually get you almost there. Of course. And I'm a strong believer that there is no shortcut to success. You need to put in effort. You need to put in every day. And a lot of people think, where did the company come from? Suddenly, out of nowhere, last 4 years. The fact is, there is more than 13 years of hard work. There is 13 years of research, which has gone into creating what we are distributing or, giving out today to students.
I want to go back to that first class that you attended, where this girl has convinced the teacher that you must take me. This is why you must take me. I am XYZ, I'm a topper. So at the end, was he happy with the decision? What did you have a chat with him and say that I'm that girl who called you? And
No, I just went and sat in the class. Thank God it was a class of 120. I managed to get into the first batch because within weeks, that batch turned into like thousands.
Oh my God.
So he would have never even seen me. So class of 100 gallery style, I enter and it is full, right? So there's a seating for 3 people on which 5 people are sitting. Yeah. So I went and squeezed myself undeterred. Okay, and I took obviously this front row seat, and sat down ready with my notebook. But I couldn't even put my pen to paper because the speed with which he taught. Okay, he teaches really fast. Today he's changed a lot and he slowed down, but in 2007 and 2008, BYJU'S was like fast, right? And I think that appealed to a lot of people because they caught up with his pace, and what he was teaching was nothing. He was just teaching confidence, simplicity, that all of this is common sense. It's so easy. The exam is just a milestone. Don't take it.
Like he removed the negative energy from it.
Very true. Very true. I think you got it bang on. Removed the negative energy and removed the stress from it, right? And said, look, this is just one of the things that you will do, but it's simple to do. So give your best shot at it, right? And taught math in such a simple way that I like I said, I still remember. And I didn't have time to put anything in the notebook because he was so fast.
So you were just listening.
I was just listening. All of us were just listening like this, right? And of course, and then when you have these 10-minute breaks over subsequent classes, I got bolder. I went and asked him a lot of questions. I think I used to probably ask a lot of questions. Maybe that's why he noticed me.
Yeah.
And And then and I remember even giving him an invitation. The classes are almost getting over. I was singing in Doordarshan. I was singing for Independence Day.
Okay.
And and I sang "Ye Mere Watan." I remember that. And so I said, "Why don't you come?" and all. I just gave him the invitation. I remember. So we developed a bond, like a student-teacher bond. And so that's how it happened.
So I want to know, exactly how this linear path that you had, this college topper had for herself, that I'm going to take this course just to accelerate my career and my plan of going abroad, studying, returning, coming back to a good salary. How did it change? And what was your thought process? And what did your two professional working class parents think about it?
Yeah, actually now I've come to realize that life is best left not too planned. Okay. And time and again I've seen that there's this advantage in letting it, go free flow with it. Back then, of course, it was a very set path. My father's like, he's got more degrees longer than his name. In medicine, you have to keep learning. Normal trajectory was to go abroad, do your masters, and then come back. And I plan to come back and then do something different in India, maybe create something new. This is what I had planned for myself. And it seemed a very obvious path. The 3 months which you're speaking about is when I was attending his classes.
Yeah, no, and after when he told you at the end of the 3 months, he obviously told you, right, that consider teaching. And for somebody who had their path set and parents have obviously earmarked a certain amount to send their daughter, what was the thought process? Okay, so what did he say to you and what did you think?
So he said, come with me and let's just, I was anyway not working anywhere. So we thought we'll just come together, try to consolidate all his techniques, try to put it together in a, compendium, create a book. We had a lot of plans. He thought, let's do that. He thought being the meticulous me that I am, thought I'm a good partner to do all of that. So we started, in fact, we used to meet in coffee day and, bring this together. I used to consolidate his thoughts, started creating a book. So that's how it started. And he was also doing batches for students who were preparing to get a dream job. Now, that's when maybe the batch got over 1 or 2 months, he said, why don't you teach? And I was initially actually taken back. I thought, okay, how am I going to do this? I've never taught. I've taught in college because biotech was a very nascent subject. So we didn't have specialists for each and every part of it. So we would just come together as a group, divide parts of the book, and then come and teach the entire class. So that's when I first started teaching a group of people. But I felt that I could do it, and I do think he saw that potential and he found the teacher in me, like he has with all the other 5 students, right? All of us have taught who are here even today. So we are 6 of us who started the company. And I went to my first class and wore a sari and just to look older. And I'm glad I did, because today I can wear it in like 5 minutes because I wore it so many times back then. And went into a class where students were 3 years younger than me. And the difference it made, I taught them something new. And I felt the impact. Subsequent classes, they came and told me that they cracked their job. They were the only breadwinners in their family. So it created so much impact that I just kept on doing it. I didn't know. See, I never thought, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It's set in stone. I'm going to do this for life. But at that point, I didn't want to go abroad. At that point, the decision I took was to stay back and do more of what I was doing.
So when you told your parents that, okay, there's a change in plan, right? As a 21-year-old, hardworking girl, topper, what was their reaction?
I won't say there was no pushback.
Yeah.
But I'm very grateful that they supported me. It was one of the most difficult decisions to take.
Absolutely.
Right? Because you're almost, it's unknown, right? It's not the BYJU'S that it is today. Here you're trusting in the possibility of creating an impact one step at a time. You only know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen even 1 month from now. So, and I don't speak for myself alone. I speak for Mrinal, I speak for Vinay, I speak for Praveen, I speak for Anita also. So all of us actually took that leap of faith, right? I think it's come a long way that we did something like that. And look at all of us. I mean, if any of us had gone down the traditional paths, none of us would be here doing what we're doing today.
Absolutely. And now you paint me a picture, right? Here are 7 people, I assume, with BYJU'S who are starting on this journey together. What was that like setting up the company
Hmm.
or the 7 of you working on an idea.
Yeah.
What was that process like? Where were you working out of? What was the salary? You don't have to give me a number, but
Hmm.
like, how was it for you to be making money through this as
Yeah.
opposed to the plans that you
Yeah.
had? And how did you formulate the company? How did you become co-founder? If you could take me through that
Yeah,
journey.
so we never thought that this will be a business. Frankly, we were profitable though, and because the investment was just the teacher who's Baiju and whatever we were booking, right? So we went from a classroom into a auditorium into a stadium because we were trying to accommodate the kind of interest which was coming in. While this happened over like a few months to a year, at every point of time we were actually profitable. So I mean we all took. It's not that it's a big amount, but I will always remember. Like I remember what I did with my first salary. I blew it on a sari for my mom.
How sweet.
And a shirt for my dad, which was relatively obviously much cheaper. But then I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it is.
Yeah. And how old were you when you made this first salary? You were
21.
You were 21.
Yeah.
Okay. And at that point, when you were teaching at a stadium, I remember somebody in the Humans of Bombay team, when we were doing our research, commented saying like, she would have felt like a rock star because you're selling out a stadium, right? As a 21-year-old, what did that do for you? Did it make you feel like I want to keep? I'm here and I'm doing this massive thing in front of people. I'm definitely onto something.
We ended up feeling like rock stars, however big the class was, because it was creating impact.
Right.
And I think that's the beauty of teaching.
Absolutely. So what was your first office like? How big was it? Where was it? What was that feeling, of going into work of something that's your own? I've had it because I started my company at 21.
Yeah.
And I know that that's an irreplaceable feeling. So can you tell me, paint us a picture about what that was like?
Yeah. So like the office was a room and like it wasn't really, the first offices were all coffee day, right? And everything happened there. All the important decisions happened there. All the catch-ups happened there.
This is like a cafe coffee day.
Cafe coffee day.
Okay.
Today we don't have time to go to a coffee day. I really fondly look back at that point of time when we could actually go and sit and discuss stuff. And the first office that we took was, and we've kept it till today because we want it as a memory. The one opposite Forum Mall.
Oh, you guys still have it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We still have it, and it's in a building called Money Center.
Okay.
Ironically named, but and and we've not even changed the hoarding, right? It has the logo which we started with. So I mean, I think I'm lucky that we chose purple. It just happened, we are just sitting with this designer and I'm like, show us different combinations of colors. Like none of us are designers, none of us are artists. We're doing everything for the first time, like everything. Like I had a crash course in finance in 3 months just to understand how to pull together the first 2 years.
Like a P&L and
because you need to learn a lot of things on the go. Teaching was something which came to us naturally. Content is something that came to us naturally. Everything else we've learned and we've had to learn fast and learn quick because we were scaling. And so, but we never thought of really launching this as a business. For us, we just went with the flow of creating impact. Numbers became better, and we wanted to formalize the whole thing. And that's why in 2011 we created Think and Learn. Think and Learn was conceptualized. We wanted to focus on school going segment. We did a lot in the test prep space, and we understood that at a certain point of time you need to unlearn and relearn.
Yes.
Now, so we wanted to make sure the first learning experience itself was done in the right way. That's why we launched for the school going kids.
Right. Right.
And from teaching in front of students, we started teaching in front of the camera. And that was different, right? And we were our own, like it was a one-man show. We would write our own scripts. We would create our own interactions. We would put up whenever we get time, we would do it. There were so many times I forgot to put on the mic. And then we'll have to do the whole thing again. So yeah, you would know, right? I mean, when you start up, and it's like that's the beauty of starting up, right? You do everything on your own.
Yeah.
So the hands-on approach helps you understand what it is at the ground that makes this come together.
And I find it so fascinating that you mentioned I was an introvert. Yeah. I don't know what you think of me now, but I was an introvert. So how has this girl who was an introvert in school, kept to herself, happened to come not only in front of thousands of people which you've taught, but also been very confident in front of the camera?
Teaching has been the biggest game changer for me. From like the last 12 years, if you ask me what is that single thing which has changed me, from being the person that I am today to who I was, say, 15, 20 years back. It is teaching. It started when I was in college in front of a group of peers, to teaching in front of students, to teaching in front of the camera, and today speaking with you, right? So it's been a journey which has evolved one step at a time. But I still remember the first time I went on stage after enrolling in the debate club. I was frozen. I didn't speak and I walked off. Right? So it happens to everybody, and I'm as normal as anyone is. And I've learned
to overcome.
So we all know we're not, everybody is never 100% perfect. But you can always become better. You'll never be 100% perfect. And it's okay to not be. But it's important to pick up one thing that you can get better at, and to develop on something that you're already strong at. Then you come out as a better person.
So the six of you are kind of building this dream, and it's going well, because you all are obviously moving from being teachers to also being owners of a business that obviously none of you probably foresaw at that point of time that it would be the way it is today. But I have to address the parallel, obviously that parallelly in your personal life, you were dating BYJU'S. So how were you drawing that balance, between being the co-founder of this company and dating your co-founder?
We're married now.
Now you're not married. Then
lines are very blurry. Right? And you have to accept that. Now you can't say switch off and look, home mode on and work mode on. It doesn't work. We are people, and so I think what's helped is that we're very aligned in terms of interests, pastimes, right? Mission,
math.
So Praveen says that we both crack math jokes that nobody else understands. And he's like, okay, I'm just going to leave these guys alone. So there is a lot of alignment. So, this whole notion of opposites attract, it's a very movie phenomenon. In real life, it really helps to have people who think like you on your side.
Correct.
So that's why we've been able to balance so far. And it's going strong, it's going good. But again, it's because we're very similar people.
I want to go back to your courtship period. Can you tell me some of your fond memories from that time, when you all were dating?
So he's very, very romantic actually. And he used to get me flowers, red roses, because he likes red roses and all of that. I'm like, roses have not come for quite some time now. But back then, initially, yes. And so we used to, it's very, very sweet memories. So Praveen is very, very concise in terms of the way he says. He's like, look, at that point of time, it's about both of you. And once you have kids, it's about the kids. But it's true, and today for us, it's company and children. Like, these are the things which all our energy focus on is like maximum. When we get time, we travel as a family. Now, thanks to pandemic, we couldn't do that also. But we travel, we try to spend some time out, but it's never that we plan ahead. So if we know, we're going tomorrow. It's never that we know that after 1 month something will happen. You can never plan like that. So we try to take every day as it comes. So it's filled, like, memories are filled with a lot of fun. When there was some time that we had, today it's moving so fast that there isn't time for much. In fact, now my most precious memory will be if 4 of us are together. It doesn't happen that as often as I would like it to happen. But nevertheless, whenever it happens, it's something that we cherish a lot.
And what is the one thing that, attracted you most to him back in the day? Of course, this is something that, I'm sure it's not a one-line answer, but what attracted you to him?
So many things, like the personality, the positivity he emanates, the optimism, right? How he can see good in everything and everyone. How he teaches, and inspires so many people. How he looks at everybody with the same lens. So equality, right? For example, so our team, and I would say right from the person who takes us to office, to the person who used to make us Maggie, all of them are here today, right? So we've moved with the people who have been part of this journey, and like, for both of us, everybody is equal. And for him, maybe that's why, I saw him as someone who can really inspire. That's what I like the most about him. The positivity, like I said, the ability to get people aligned on something. So he also, when I have to take decisions, I actually go to him because he's someone who resonates. He thinks deeply, but he also gives you like solutions. I mean, he's like someone who can find the right solution no matter what. So, so I, like I said, it can never be a one-line answer. But if I have to put one thing, like he's an eternal optimist.
Wow.
And I think that positive energy is something that spreads.
Yeah. Now both of you are, you all have this family and you all have BYJU'S, which is obviously expanded in scale far beyond measure. What is the point of balance between, because you all are obviously together at home and then you all are together at work. So do you all have any kind of, sentiment that we leave work at work and at home it's home? What is it like in your family?
I think it's a big advantage that there are two of us. So it's almost like you can do two things at one time, which you otherwise can't. So I think it's a big advantage. And so we've never felt like there are so many times when work conversations overflow. I mean, it's never happened the other way around. There isn't time for personal conversations to overflow. So a lot of people say, don't you guys fight? I'm like, look, there's no time. So, and what do you fight about? I mean, they're like moving so fast. Things are moving so fast, and BYJU'S is very calm, right? As a person, so if anyone gets angry among the two, it's me. So I'm the one who gets like more, but he's like very calm and very neutral in his approach to everything, and I think that strikes the balance.
And offline we were discussing this, that India has this unique concept of a joint family, and that sometimes serves as such a blessing, especially when it comes to two working professionals that have a work life that demands as much as you and BYJU'S. Can you talk to me a little bit about that setup and what it's been like, right, as a mother, and knowing that you have this home and you have such a huge career? Can you tell me a little bit about that setup?
Yeah, and the biggest reason, Karishma, I'm here today is because of that support system.
Right.
And to every woman, if you can have a support system, it could be in a friend, it could be in your parents, it could be in someone whom you can fall back on, because the road up, the climb up is very bumpy. You can just make it a bit smoother by having someone who can, stand up for you, be there with you. So bringing up my elder son, both my mother and my father-in-law have played a major role, just taking complete care of him. And whenever I am at home, so the relationship between me and my elder son is something which I will cherish. It's a very close bond, and I'm the world to him and he's mine. But when I'm at home, I'm with him completely. But when I'm not there, he's well taken care of. So having that peace of mind is very important, because both are extremely important. Family is important, work is important. But just knowing that your children are in safe hands and with your family. And I think that sort of, and like you said, right, in India, if anywhere women can come up, it's here. Because here is where we can build on that support system which has come, which we've inherited. A mindset shift is required, because not once have my in-laws asked me, that you're working late. There's so many times I worked into the night, worked late. They've been taking care of the kids. Not once have they asked me. So I've never felt that guilt. So I'm very fortunate to be raised by parents who have just brought me up like, like a child and not like a son or a daughter. But I'm also fortunate to have in-laws who have supported me and looked at me as an equal, as a partner in this journey.
And I know that, there's been so much conversation about working mothers and, what it takes. Have you ever felt that? Like, have you, say, missed a parent-teacher association and felt that very real guilt that is unique to mothers? Because a lot of time it's considered okay that a father misses it because he's at work. But you have the career that you have. And you also have your sons. So have you ever felt that?
So, to be very frank, whatever matters, I've been very cognizant of what matters to Nish. So if there is something that really matters to him, I've made sure I've been present.
Right.
So while I've not been able to drop him and pick him at school every day, I've tried to make that happen, say once in 10 days. And he looks forward to that day when I pick him up.
Yeah. So when you couldn't make it, what was the conversation like? And did you face criticism that okay, you're this powerful woman in business, but what about your kids?
No, there was a time when I ended up going late. So it was his birthday, and all he wanted was to spend the day with me. So he wanted to go to school, spend it with his friends. He was in K2, kindergarten 2, so a very young child. And so I promised him that I will be there at 11 and pick him up and take him out and then spend the rest of the day with him. And I ended up reaching at 11:30. So I did feel very guilty that day because the teacher came and told me that, you know what, he cried and he missed you. But there was this meeting I just could not get out of. It went on more than and like I miscalculated right from traffic to time and ended up going late. But that was the day. It's not that I didn't show up, but I showed up late. But after that day, I felt okay. You know what? Nothing is worth it if it means so much to them. These are small things. I will make it happen. I will try my best to make it happen. Like you said, Karishma, right? There are times when you can't because sometimes you'll have to prioritize A over B. I think that's where it helps that BYJU'S there. And there are two of us. So there are times when if I just can't take it up, he will chip in.
Yeah.
Right? Now, either ways, he could chip in at home because for both our children, both of us equally mean the world to them.
Yes.
So we could play either ways. One of us could chip in for the other and make things move. So that is a hidden advantage, but it's a real advantage.
Right, right. And so when has there been a time where you couldn't make it and he's made it? Can you think of a time like that?
Not for a parent-teacher meeting, but definitely like picking him up sometimes.
Yeah.
He's done that, and I couldn't go, but I promised him I will. But he went.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are times when
it works either way.
It works either way.
Yeah. Do these numbers ever, are they a factor? Because obviously, everybody talks about net worth or everybody talks about valuation. How do you feel about that?
If you ask me for my opinion, I would like them to focus more on the individual students rather than on valuation, because valuation will come and go. A lot of titles like world's largest will come and go, but what will stay is the impact you create on every student. So that it's more about value creation than it is about valuation. So for me the focus is, and even as a company, both of our focus is like, while we know that usually everybody talks about valuation, we have, like, for us it's as it has been on day one. We still feel we have a long way to go. We don't consider ourselves successful. We think we are sailing in a boat in a large ocean, but we're going in the right direction, because if you don't have the direction, then there is absolutely no point.
And I think that the most fascinating part about this part of your journey is that you guys put back 400 million into the business, which is very unheard of. It's literally like putting your money where your mouth is. How did that decision happen?
So if you ask me, you invest wherever you have your maximum belief and faith. And today, all our efforts and belief is in what we have created. So all the products we have created, and this is our extent of belief, right? Our children will learn not from BYJU'S or Divya, but they will learn from BYJU'S. Because that sort of, because we both are teachers on it. It's not that we've created something and left it. So like our kids will learn this way. Our kids will learn through the host of products, the companies that we have partnered with. In fact, that's what we look for. Like mission-wise, there's so many companies who are now part of the BYJU'S family. But all of them uniquely are very learner-centric, and they bring so much value to the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And we obviously have to talk about education for all. And I know that that's personally something that you feel really, really passionately about. Can you tell us more about that mission?
So when we launched this 15 months ago, actually 17 months ago now, and we wanted to empower children across, because education is a right? It's not a privilege. And we are very cognizant that education is what has brought BYJU'S and me today to where we are. If you ask me, the single differentiator between people who go ahead and achieve whatever they want to achieve, it's education, nothing else. So keeping that in mind, we wanted to, and since we were creating something which can be so easily scaled, we were like, we should be able to benefit everybody. So that's how Education for All was born. Now we started with a mission of 5 million children by 2025. Pandemic widened the gaps further. and we accelerated. So we've impacted 3.4 million children in 1 year.
Wow.
Now, it's a large number, but I would still say it's not large enough. Considering the number of children who are out of school today, the number of children who had to stop learning today, there is a sustainable development report by UN which says that the pandemic has wiped out 20 years of gains in ensuring equity in education.
Yeah.
So there is so much to be done now, and a lot of girls have dropped out of school.
Yeah.
Additionally, so what we did is very different. We partnered with NGOs. Today we have 128 NGOs who are partners with us, and we have given BYJU'S products, the same one, and in any language which they are comfortable in, to children through these NGOs.
Right.
And so we power the content. The device is either donated by the NGO, by a third party, sometimes by ourselves. We have the BYJU'S Give where citizens can donate, and we power it with the content and we distribute it for free.
Yeah.
Now, the important thing here is that we also measure impact, right? It's not just about giving and forgetting. So we're very mindful that this has to be something that they continue to use. So we measure success of those programs, at least the relative, by looking at how much time they spend on it. So 75% of them spend an hour a day. We look at effectiveness. So studies show that more than half of them are attributing their improvements in scores to BYJU'S.
Absolutely.
So this means that it's helping children. And we've also been cognizant of the partner. So we've looked at, there is a special, a small bonus given to or partnering with organizations which are looking at, say, marginalized communities, AIDS victims, right? And 50% of them are girls.
Wow.
50% of the beneficiaries are girls. And so this is something I'm very passionate about, because I can see the impact. These are students who have never gone to school. They're children who are first generation learners in their family, or they've dropped out of school. So this is education for all, and like now we've revised our target to 10 million by 2025.
And how does it feel from having that that 6-person founding team to sponsoring something as huge and massive as FIFA? What do you have to say about your journey? Like, looking back, what was, what made it happen? I know you mentioned the hard work, but was there another factor? Do you believe at all in luck and destiny had a part to play in this?
So I believe a lot. I don't believe in luck. Luck is just hard work on repeat mode.
Yeah.
And destiny is something that you can shape. So there is this very famous quote now where it says, how do you predict the future? You just create it. So let's at least try to, because nobody would have got the answer right of what's happening in 2020. No one in the world, right?
Yeah.
If you ask them 10 years back. So for me, it's actually a combination of hard work, of intuition. The intuition is something called, like, sometimes you say, okay, that's chance, right? Sometimes something that you just go with your gut feel. Sometimes you don't know why you do something, but something told you to do it. So I feel it's a combination of all of this. Now, looking back, now I know we've come a long way, but looking ahead, I still feel we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
So it has to be that we are moving fast, moving quick, zero room for complacency. Every day we're like, okay, we need to be a better version of ourselves, because today we have an opportunity to create a global champion from India.
Yeah.
In education and edtech, we can really do something which will put India on the map. And we want to be playing a part in that.
Yeah, and that's phenomenal. And I think that there are going to be a billion Indians cheering for you to get there. So very excited to see what the future unfolds. We're going to do a really fun segment. It's called Things About Me You Can't Find on Google.
So I can't Google for the answer.
You can't.
Okay.
And this is nothing that is on Wikipedia, or if you Google, you can't find it. So the first question is, what's the first thing you do when you get home from work?
Please check on the kids. Like, what are they up to?
Is there any character from a movie or a book that's impacted your life?
If you heard about Oliver Jeffers, the author, there's this boy who looks for a star, and then he gets so much happiness by looking at a starfish, right? So it just tells you how much you can go and find happiness in everything around you.
Yeah. So that book,
yeah,
impacted you. Amazing. Okay, BYJU the co-founder or BYJU the husband?
BYJU the teacher.
We are still at the teacher level. Okay, and how would your friends describe you?
Ideally, you should ask them. But from what I gather, someone who is very energetic, someone who's very happy.
Okay, amazing. Do you have a celebrity crush?
So when I was young, it was Shah Rukh Khan.
Okay. Wow, and he became, so what was that like? I must deviate when he became the brand ambassador.
I was very
for
happy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Amazing. What's your go-to comfort food?
Go to comfort food. Rice, dal, ghee, salt.
What's your favorite holiday destination?
I don't have a favorite holiday destination. It's about the people I'm with.
You mentioned. Yeah. It's at home.
I don't. Maybe home.
Yeah.
Because that's where I can actually get everybody together.
And your favorite sport?
Swimming.
What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is that I won't have enough time to do everything that I want to do.
Okay, so we're at the the last leg of this interview. So 2 questions, as food for thought. The first one is, have you ever felt like you almost blew it in your career? That this is a colossal mistake that has happened, and I've almost blown it.
Maybe in very early days. So I used to sit and design the paper ads, right? So all are like a good amount of money will go into that page 3 Times of India ad. So I'm responsible for it. So I've been given, because I'm the one with good English, responsibility to check all the lines, do it. And then, so I remember that once, and the most important thing in that is call this phone number, right? Because everything, that's the most important thing. So somehow ended up sending that one day with a wrong number. Okay, and I really thought that's the end of it, because there is a good amount of investment which has gone into it. And I remember like calling everyone and getting it got changed. But that was the time like I freaked till it. I mean, it's way long back. It's maybe the first year of starting.
And in hindsight, it was such a small thing, but you thought
it's a very big thing.
Okay, yeah, okay, it's a very
when
big
ROI matters, it's a very big thing.
And you thought that this is it.
Like phone number cannot go wrong. CTA cannot go wrong. When you measure everything, it cannot go wrong.
Yeah. Okay. And what piece of advice would you give to the 10-year-old Divya?
Dear 10-year-old Divya, don't plan too much. Life is not going to be charted out exactly the way you do it, but that's the fun of it. So keep goals for yourself, because then you will work towards something, but use your strengths that you develop so that you go in any direction that life takes you.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, because I think that had you been on your linear path, you would not be the co-founder of BYJU'S today. Thank you so much for doing this. And everybody, this was Divya Gokulnath. She's the co-founder of BYJU'S, the world's most valuable edtech company. And I'm so happy that we decoded the human behind that co-founder. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Karishma. I think you asked me things that no one else has. And I had a great time doing this. I also want to congratulate you, because you are a role model to so many young women. And I'm hoping that there are more Karishmas out there in the world who are able to bring stories out. So I'm very appreciative of the work that you do, that you're able to make normal people superheroes, right? That's what you're generally doing. You're picking up stories of people who have come victorious from challenging situations that they've been in. So I'm very proud of what you are doing. And I wish you a fantastic career ahead. And I do wish that you also inspire so many more young Karishmas to come up and do the best.
Thank you. And I hope that we both grow and thrive in the many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. If you like this episode, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon. Thank you all for being the best community, and I'll see you soon.
Well, it so happened that, I was coming back from a program. We were in a Maruti van. And, we were coming back towards the temple. I was not yet a monk. I was still working. And then suddenly a truck out of the blue came right in front of our vehicle, and in a split second, in the next 3 seconds, I could see death right in front of my eyes. But then it was a moment where I actually saw near death, and I realized that I have been given a second chance. Yes. So I decided, okay, let me dedicate my life for the one who has given me the second chance.